Welcome to Sri Chaitanya. Welcome to JEE Max, JEE Main Advanced Extreme Series Season 1 and Series 3. So far we have successfully completed Season 1, Series 1 and 2. And in Series 1 we have completed differential equations, and Series 2 we have completed ellipse. Now this is Season 1, Series 3. There we are concentrating mean value theorems. As usual, in Series 3 we are concentrating the concepts, problems, shortcuts, assignments and tests of mean value theorems. And this is lesson number 3 of mean value theorems. In lesson number 1 and 2 we have completed Rolle's and Lagrange's mean value theorems. Now this is about Cauchy's mean value theorem. Again, my suggestion is please don't forget to check the description. There I am providing very good information, assignments in the form of tests and everything for you related to this video. So please share and subscribe my channel and press the bell icon. I will immediately will get the next notifications. My friends, mean value theorem is the one of the most useful and important topic for all competitive examination. And one question is a guarantee, directly or indirectly, exclusively from this. Because if you are considering the applications point of view of mean value theorems, of course, this is 100% sure problems we can expect from mean value theorems. Now today, we are concentrating the Cauchy's mean value theorem. Of course, directly Cauchy's mean value theorem is not there in your syllabus, but we may expect questions from Cauchy's mean value theorem. So far, they have not asked any questions from Cauchy's mean value theorem. Only they confined to the Rolle's theorem and Lagrange's mean value theorem only. But by keeping the advanced examination in our mind, here I am introducing this Cauchy's mean value theorem, which is also just similar to Rolle's and Lagrange's mean value theorem. But now, just like Lagrange's mean value theorem, here I am giving the first statement. So far in Rolle's and Lagrange's mean value theorems, we just concentrated on only one function which is defined on a closed interval AB, whereas here we are concentrating on two functions f and g defined on closed interval AB, and both are continuous on closed interval AB, both are derivable on open interval AB, and the second function g dash of x does not vanish at any value in open interval AB. Because why g dash of x does not vanish, that I will explain. Then if any functions, any two functions having these three properties which define on closed interval AB, then there exists at least a real number alpha, where a less than alpha less than b, such that f of b minus f of a by g of b minus g of a equal to f dash alpha by g dash of alpha. This is called Cauchy's mean value theorem. This is analytical definition of Cauchy's mean value theorem. One way, this Cauchy's mean value theorem is just an extension of Lagrange's mean value theorem. Because, you see, if I have applied Lagrange's mean value theorem to functions f and g independently, what will happen? There exists C1 such that f of b minus f of a by b minus a equal to f dash C1, where a less than C1 less than b. Similarly, if I have applied Lagrange's mean value theorem on g, then g of b minus g of a by b minus a equal to g dash of C2, where a less than C2 less than b. If I have applied Lagrange's mean value theorem independently on f and g, and if I have dividing both of them, I can get like this. But there I will get two different constants, C1 and C2. But what Cauchy had done, he has taken C1 is equal to C2 because it is the first order differential equation. Therefore, instead of introducing two different arbitrary constants, he has considered them as single arbitrary constant. That's why that theorem holds. So it is what? An extension of, or it is extracted from the Lagrange's mean value theorem. And clearly you understood that why g dash of x not equal to 0. If g dash of x equal to 0, what will happen? Because f dash c by g dash of c2, since g is in the denominator, if it is 0, that ratio becomes infinity. That's why. To avoid that infinity things, here g dash of x not equal to 0 in open interval AB. Now, the important note is, as usual, in condition 3, or I can do one thing. This is one way, with the help of Lagrange's theorem, I have derived it. Or I can do the same thing in another way. In condition 3, the statement of the theorem may the given statement of the theorem may be replaced by f dash of x and g dash of x both do not vanish at any point in x in open interval a comma b, because clearly there I mentioned very clearly, specifically, because here only g dash of x, I am very much interested on g dash of x. Only g dash of x does not vanish at any value of c in open, at any value in open interval that I have mentioned. Suppose if both vanish, what will happen? What will happen if both will vanish in open interval AB, and g of a not equal to g of b, and if g of a not equal to g of b, then what will happen? Then the same result holds good. So here what I am going to say is f dash of x, g dash of x do not both vanish at both are not vanish at each and every point in open interval a b, and g of a not equal to g of b. What? Instead of adding these two conditions in condition number 3, then the statement given for Cauchy is the same as the statement given, the original statement. Both are same, both are equivalent. So just by replacing these two conditions a and b, we have just taken this as into consideration. What is that? G dash of x not equal to 0 for any x in open interval AB. So if you are replacing g dash of x not equal to 0 for any x in open interval AB, that statement is equivalent to which statement? Both f dash x and g dash x are not vanish at any point in x, and g of a not equal to g of b. What will happen if g of a equal to g of b? Denominator vanishes. If denominator vanishes, then what will happen? Something by 0 becomes infinity. That is the reason. That is the simplest reason. So don't get any confusion. So we can also give the same statement like this. If f and g are two functions defined on closed interval AB, such that they are continuous in closed interval AB. Number 2, they are derivable in open interval AB. Number 3, if f dash of x and g dash of x are not equal to 0 at any for every x in open interval AB, and g of a not equal to g of b, then there exists at least a real number alpha belongs to open interval AB, such that f of b minus f of a by g of b minus g of a equal to f dash alpha by g dash of alpha. The same statement we can also give it as if f and g defined on closed interval AB such that f and g both are continuous in closed interval AB, both are derivable in open interval AB, and g dash of x not equal to 0 for every x, then there exists at least a real number c belongs to open interval AB such that f of b minus f of a by g of b minus g of a equal to f dash c by g dash of c, where a less than c less than b. This is about what? Cauchy's mean value theorem. Okay. Now, the h theta form. The h theta form, it is very simple. Just you replace b with a plus h. Just you replace b with a plus h, you will get it. So, if f and g are defined on closed interval a comma a plus h, and they are derivable in open interval a comma a plus h, and g dash of x not equal to 0 for every x in open interval a comma a plus h, then there exists theta belongs to open interval 0 comma 1 such that f of a plus h minus f of x, f of a by g of a plus h minus g of a equal to f dash of a plus theta h by g dash of a plus theta h, where 0 less than theta less than. Clear? This is what h theta form of Cauchy's mean value theorem. Now, what is geometrical interpretation? Actually, in geometrical interpretation, what it says? Actually, here in the geometrical interpretation, if I have multiplied f of b minus f of a by g of b minus g of a equal to f dash c by g dash c. If I have cross multiplied this, so g of b, f of b minus f of a by b minus, if I have do like this, done like this, f dash c by g dash c into g of b minus g of a by b minus a. If I have written the statement like this, this indicates what? The slope of the chord joining at any 2 points on f. This indicates what? The slope of the chord joining at any 2 points on the curve G. So with this relation, what it indicates? The slope of the chord joining at 2 points capital A comma f of A, capital A comma f of A, and capital B comma f of B on curve f of x is f dash c by g dash c times the slope of the chord joining at points A comma g of A and C D B comma g of B on curve g of x. So what it says, the function f and g can be considered as determining a curve in a plane by means of parametric equations x is equal to f of t and y is equal to g of t, where a less than or equal to t less than or equal to b. Cauchy's mean value theorem includes that there exists a point f of c comma g of c of the curve for some t belongs to, for t equal to c in open interval a is such that the slope of the line segment, here it is important, the slope of the line segment joining the endpoints of the curve is equal to slope of f dash c by g dash c of tangent at the curve at t equal to c. So indirectly, see, so far the curve is in the form of y equal to f of x. Whenever the curve is in the form of y equal to f of x and it is defined in closed interval ab, then based on the conditions, boundary conditions of Rolle's theorem or Lagrange's theorem, we may check whether Rolle's theorem is applicable or Lagrange's theorem is applicable. Suppose the curve, equation of the curve is given in the parametric form, then Cauchy's theorem takes place. Cauchy's theorem will give the beautiful idea. That means the equation of the curve is in parametric form. That means like two functions f and g. That two functions f and g are continuous in closed interval a comma b and derivable in open interval a comma b. For t belongs to closed interval ab, then only in this case it holds good. So for parametric type of curves, whenever the curve equation is given in the form of parametric equations, then Cauchy's mean value theorem play a very good role in solving kind of problems. Okay, my friends. Now, the another corollary is, in the given equation, if I have replacing f of a equal to g of a with 0, if I have taken f of a and g of a as 0, then that is nothing but f of b by g of b equal to f dash c by g dash c. What it means? Okay, that means the ratio of f and g at a particular point is equal to slopes of the tangents drawn at the particular point c on the curve. Okay, so if f of a equal to g of a equal to 0, that means at one end points the both curves are equal to 0, then the ratio at another points on the both the curves is equal to slopes of the tangents drawn at that particular point on both the curves. The ratio of the slopes of the tangents drawn at that particular point on the both the curves. Or sometimes, suppose if f of x is equal to 0 and g of x is equal to 0, the same thing holds good like this. And another important point is, my friends, here in Cauchy's theorem, if you have replaced g of x is equal with x, because g of x is equal to x is always everywhere it is continuous and differentiable, nothing to worry. If I have just replaced g of x is equal to x, then Cauchy's mean value theorem will become a particular case of Lagrange's mean value theorem becomes a particular case of Cauchy's mean value theorem. Okay, so when g of x is equal to x, Lagrange's mean value theorem becomes a particular case of Cauchy's mean value theorem. That is the relation between Cauchy's versus Lagrange's. So it is observed that Rolle's theorem can be derived from Cauchy's mean value theorem by taking g of x is equal to x and f of a equal to f of b. That means with the help of Cauchy's theorem, we can derive both Lagrange's theorem as well as Rolle's theorem. For to get Cauchy's theorem, Lagrange's theorem from Cauchy's theorem, do one thing: replace g of x with x. If we are replacing g of x with x, what will happen? F of b minus f of a by g of b means b, g of a means a equal to f dash c. G dash c means 1. So this is what? Lagrange's theorem. Or to extract Rolle's theorem from Cauchy's theorem, what to do? You just take g of x is equal to x and f of a equal to f of b. If you are considering g of x is equal to x and f of a equal to f of b, then automatically f is continuous in closed interval ab and f is derivable in open interval ab, and moreover f of a equal to f of b. Then there exists a point c belongs to open interval ab such that j f dash of x equal to 0. So this implies what? Rolle's theorem. So we can also extract Lagrange's as well as Rolle's theorem with the help of Cauchy's mean value theorem with selecting the specific functions from them. So we remind our readers that the conditions of the present theorem are also sufficient but not necessary. So in all mean value theorems, all the conditions that we are given in the hypothesis are just sufficient. They are not necessary. If any function satisfies all the conditions, then only the remaining part holds good, but not necessarily the converse. Now, Rolle's theorem for a polynomial. This is important. Actually, that's all about Cauchy's theorem and the extractions of Lagrange's and Rolle's theorem with the help of Cauchy's theorem. Now, this already I have mentioned in first lesson 1 of mean value theorem. Again, I'm concentrating more on Rolle's theorem and its applications, especially on polynomials. Here, what this statement says: if f is any polynomial, that between any pair of roots of f of x, there lies a root of f of x is equal to 0, f dash x equal to 0. That means, suppose this is the function f. Suppose this is the function. Say this is alpha 1, this is alpha 2, this is alpha 3, this is alpha 4, this is alpha 5. What are these? This is the curve y equal to f of x I have taken. And if I have drawn the curve like this, that means the curve intersects x-axis at alpha 1, comma, alpha 2, alpha 3, alpha 4, alpha 5. So these are all are what? Roots of f of x equal to 0. This is y-axis and this is x-axis. This is x-axis. These are the two consecutive roots. These are the two consecutive. Several roots are there. Several roots are there. Between these two roots, the curve is like this. And there exists a point here. The tangent is parallel to x-axis. Say let the point be beta 1. Similarly here beta 2. Similarly here beta 3. Similarly here beta 4. That means there exists a beta 1 which lies between alpha 1 and alpha 2. Beta 2 which lies between alpha 2 and alpha 3. Beta 3 lies between alpha 3 and alpha 4. Beta 4 lies between alpha 4 and alpha 5. That means what? If f of x is any polynomial, then between any pair of roots of f of x is equal to 0, there exist roots of f dash x is equal to 0. What does it mean? F dash x is equal to 0 means what? The tangent parallel to x-axis. This is the beautiful application. How to prove? That we can prove the derivation with the help of this relation. Okay. Of course, the proof is not necessary, but those who are really interested on this, please go through this proof in detail. Here I am mentioning, suppose f of x is a polynomial function and alpha and beta are two consecutive roots and they're repeating n times, suppose say. So this is my function f of x is equal to x minus alpha whole power m and by x minus beta whole power m into some phi of x. If I have considered this function, that means alpha comes m times and any polynomial that there the roots may be different, or sometimes the roots may be equal, or some roots are some n number of roots are equal, some n number of roots are equal, remaining all are different, something like that. Because polynomial means different roots may exist and different nature of the roots may exist. Suppose if alpha and beta are the two consecutive roots and their repeated roots of m and n times, that show the polynomial f of x can be written like this. If this is my situation, and if I have considered this as my interval, no doubt, these are two consecutive roots. What I am going to prove? Between two consecutive roots of f of x is equal to 0, there exists a root of f dash x is equal to 0, that I am going to prove. Since This is a polynomial, it is continuous everywhere. And moreover, what is my f dash of x? My f dash of x is equal to what? Here, x minus alpha whole power m into x minus beta whole power n into phi dash of x plus phi of x into x minus m into x minus alpha whole power m minus 1 into x minus beta whole power n minus 1 n plus x n into x minus beta whole power n minus 1 into x minus alpha whole power m. Okay, UV formula I have applied. I have applied just the UV formula. This into derivation of this and plus this into, and of course it is derivable and it is equal, then I can write the simplest notation like this. So this is my f dash x. So and f of alpha equal to 0, f of beta equal to 0, though all the conditions of Rolle's theorem are satisfied, therefore there exists a real number c belongs to open interval alpha comma beta such that f dash of c equal to 0. If I have substituted that, I will get the derived equation. So this is the proof between two consecutive roots of f of x is equal to 0, there exists a root of f dash x is equal to 0. That is the proof. Okay. Now, with the help of this, we can understand, okay, what kind of applications that we may expect in Rolle's theorem, and the beauty of the Rolle's theorem, you can understand it very well. So, my friends, anyhow, if you enjoyed this one, if you like this, please share and subscribe my channel, and please don't forget to check the description. There I am providing everything for you in the form of assignments and tests. And please press the bell icon, you will get the continuous notification for the coming sessions also. Okay, so far we have successfully completed lesson number 1, lesson number 2, lesson number 3 of mean value theorem. They are very, very important, the theoretical part and the counter examples for supporting their sufficient conditions and necessary conditions very clearly. I have covered everything, and this knowledge is very sufficient for doing the best for mains and advanced examinations, coming advanced and mains examinations. Please note down all the points very carefully. Okay, my friends, we'll meet with the next video soon. Thank you.